Guys, I like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to sermons. And recently I heard a sermon that talked about a miracle. It talked about God's divine touch and His intervention in our life. And it reminds me how we can be in the right place at the right time. God can direct our path where something that needs to happen does happen. And I want you to listen real closely to this story.
Hunter Zare, Zach Saywin, 2 young men and 4 other friends, they were home from a college winter break. And on the night of December 15th, they were riding around Lake Mary and they were looking for another friend's house when the GPS led them astray. And they're there and they stopped in the parking lot and thought that surely they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. But suddenly Zach looked in the distance and he noticed a car with its headlights reflecting off the water. There was no time to think, said Hunter. I was the first into the water. When I got to the car, the driver was still sitting there with his hands on the steering wheel in shock of what was taking place. I got him to roll down the passenger window a little, and then I was able to reach in and crank it all the way down. By that time, his friend Zach had reached the car. Hunter then climbed through the window, and he unhooked the seatbelt. Zach then reached into the car, and they pulled him out of the car into the water. This man in the car was named Miguel Hernandez, a 23-year-old man. Bystanders say less than a minute, that car began to sink below the dark water. If the GPS had not misguided, if they didn't stop at the lake, if it had been there a few minutes later, things could have been so much different. But they were at the right place at the right time. They stepped into action, and Miguel Hernandez's life was saved. Because of the great and the urgent needs that surround every one of us, I pray that you would answer the call today at such a time as this. You are strategically positioned in the right place at the right time. And I challenge you today to give permission to God to take control, full control of your life. Amen. Let's all stand.
Well, guys, I hope you liked that story and it touched you like it touched me. I want to remind you that just like in that story where those boys were not even thinking about saving someone's life, but God put them in the path of somebody. God also can put you in the path of someone who's in need, to hear the gospel, to be touched, to be inspired. Recently, God showed me on my phone how He can control our technology and cause it to speak to us. I was asking Him for an answer. I was praying. I was seeking for Him. And I mean, God's put thoughts in my mind. He's had people speak to me. He's had people text me. Well, I'm just scrolling up and down Instagram, and all of a sudden my phone locked up where it would scroll, but these words were imprinted over the top of all other words that was in the background. And when my phone locked on that message and I read it, and no matter where I scrolled, in the foreground was that phrase, He showed me that He could switch me from waiting on it to having it in a moment, in an instant. He has the power to do a miracle at any time when He wants to. So that's an instance, as well as this GPS malfunctioning. God is not limited by our technology. God is not limited by time and space. God can make a difference in our life. All we have to do is trust Him and follow Him. I hope this inspires you. I hope this blesses you. Keep on watching. Keep on growing. Till next time, guys, God bless.